2024 Ondo governorship election. Today, I will be hanging out with Mayor Akinpelu and Chris Kendi Wandu. Gentlemen, good afternoon to you. Welcome to Journalist Hangout on Sunday.
Nice to be here. Good afternoon.
Journalist Hangout starts now. Welcome back, everyone. In the face of daunting national challenges, more Nigerians are making the country proud. Nigeria's representative, Chidimma, finished as the first runner-up at the 73rd Miss Universe competition in Mexico. The final moment of the prestigious event at the Arena CDMX in Mexico City, Mexico, announced early Sunday morning, saw an electrifying face-off between Nigeria and Denmark as the two women stood poised to claim the crown. The competition was described as one of the most thrilling in recent years, celebrating the talent, intelligence, and elegance of women from around the globe. Miss Denmark ultimately won the crown, taking over from Miss Universe 2023. Meanwhile, Additional's exceptional performance and grace earned her widespread admiration from judges and the audience alike. Gentlemen, Chris, let me start with.
Well, surprising, but not too surprising. I would say congratulations to Chidimma on this very feat. We didn't see it coming. I would call her a child of faith, because if you know child of faith, so many things are put on as obstacle to you achieving your ultimate aim. But for one reason or the other, either by your own grace or by that of God, you still to prevail. Let's start from how it started. This was a lady, or this is a lady that was born in South Africa. Has a Nigerian father. And I think the mother is from Zimbabwe. And she has lived all her life. And by the constitution of that country, once you are born in South Africa, it automatically becomes, although they are not telling us that it's not automatic. And through the ranks, when the Miss Universe contest, the South Africa edition was to be held. She, like so many other people, applied as a citizen of South Africa. It was when it now started getting to the point of final selection, and they knew that she was getting, probably we win this, and that people start making that, oh, she's not from South Africa. They are here, the mother and parents are illegal immigrants, and everything they did to frustrate her. And the poor girl tried to say that, oh, I'm born here, I'm my South African. They said, no, go, you are not a South African. And that has been very, very consistent with the people of South Africa, especially. Yes, we have our own challenges here, where we know we have our own tribal issues, where when you are from some certain part of the country and you find yourself in another part of the country, even as a Nigerian, some people still don't believe that you belong. But let's just had it that the girl was practical at the point that she said she was almost committing suicide because it was very, very tough for her. But as grace will have it, and that is the power of social media.
Absolutely.
It's not the mainstream media. It was the social media that somebody picked up that story and started splashing it on social media, on X, Twitter, everywhere. And we came to realize that we even have a daughter in South Africa who is trying to become amazing. And before you knew it, and luckily for her, we say, why that was I've been talking about luck. Luckily for her, the Miss Universe Nigeria has not been held. If we've had Miss Universe Nigeria, there's no way she would have qualified to participate. But kudos must go to the organizers of Miss Universe Nigeria, and especially the Ben Bruce family, the Silverbird Group, because they saw that and realized that, okay, fine, you call that young lady, come and compete. If you win, all well and good. And she came, and what happened? And she was picked. And you will see from what happened that it was based on merit. Some people are saying, oh, it's because she came from South Africa. There was, from what we have seen from this, you need to see the competition. I followed it up to where she was, the first 30. The country, about 78 countries participated in that competition. When she got to 30, I said, she might be able to get up to top 20. When she got to top 20, most people were shocked. But when you look at her elegance and see the way she talks, it's not just about beauty. It is also what you have upstairs. Because you are talking about white, you are talking about colored, and at the end of it all, the final moment was when the two of them were called to the stage. And it could have gone to anyone there. She could have won it, or the other lady could have won it. But even if she didn't, she has won our hearts. Because after this thing, she has now been proclaimed Miss Universe Africa and that of the Oceania. What it means is that in the whole of Africa, she's Miss Africa and also Miss Oceania.
So that's the visual showing on the screen.
Yes, that's the moment. You could see it. You know, both of them stood and they were holding hands because then it could go anywhere. After Agbani Darego, this is the closest we have gotten. So congratulations to her and congratulations to Nigeria.
Mayor, let me come to you. Were you also surprised she moved up that high?
I'm not really surprised because let me say congratulations to Chidimma and the Silverbird Group because Silverbird Group are quite experienced in this matter. And since he won the Miss Universe Nigeria, I had high hopes because the Silverbird Group, they know the politics and what you need to win in beauty pageants. So it was well groomed, and I expected her to go far. Though I didn't expect her to win or be the first runner-up. Being the first runner-up is a huge achievement because Miss Universe is a very, very important pageant, even more prestigious than Miss World. So for her to be the first runner-up is a very huge achievement. But the Chidimma's achievement now is a lesson for us that we may not like what is going on in our country. We may be disappointed with our leaders. We may be disappointed with our government. But this is the only country we've got. This is our country. No matter how good you are, when you go to other places and you attain the citizenship of those countries, when push comes to shove, you are not really from there. They will tell you that you are not really from there. So it is only in your country that nobody can question your citizenship. Because Chidimma was born there and by right is a South African. But because the parents came in illegally, so the excuse they are using is that if you use a false paper to become a citizen of a country, you cannot build something on nothing. So as far as they are concerned, you are not a citizen. So what that proves that they will have denied her dreams. She will not have been in a position to be first runner-up in a big pageant like Miss Universe. But because nobody can deny her of her country. Yes, maybe born in South Africa, but she's a Nigerian from Nigerian parentage. So the Bembruce family, the Silverbird Group, asked her to come here and contest. She did. And they were able to give her a platform to be able to show the world who she is. And to make it sweeter, she not only became the first runner-up, she's now the Miss Universe Africa and Oceania, including representing South Africa that denied her that opportunity. It's a very huge achievement. So I want to congratulate her and the Silverbird Group.
All right, Chris, any final word on this before?
Yes, the funniest part of it is that, you know, the success has many uncles, brothers. Now, even South Africans now are claiming, oh, you need to go to S and see what is that. Oh, she's our own, don't worry. But now, I think that we've really robbed it. And, you know, as I say, faith, the way faith have it, the lady that qualified as the South African representative, she fell sick.
Yeah.
And she fell sick and she couldn't take part in the contest. She had to be flown back home. She did not contest. She did not participate in the contest because she fell a few days before the pageant in Mexico and has to be asked to go back home. So you could see it. So it was a double win for us, but let us not rub it in. Chidimma had won, and we can only but continue to encourage her.
All right, congratulations once again to Chidimma Additional and to Nigeria. Gentlemen, let's move on quickly. Another citizen flying Nigeria's name high is Eniola Shokunbi, a 12-year-old Nigerian from Connecticut, United States. Eniola designed an air filter to reduce spread of airborne diseases in U.S. schools. The design is targeted at creating low-cost air filters for classrooms. As such, the Connecticut State Bond Commission approved $11.5 million in funding for the design. Her air filter design showcases innovation and cost-effectiveness. The unit is constructed using a simple combination of components like a box fan, 4 furnace filters, dot tape, and cardboard. Mayor, let me start with you.
This again is proof that Nigerians are special people. The only problem we have in this country is leadership. If we had the right leadership, we should be ruling the world. Because anywhere you look at, you see that Nigerians are different. That is the truth. In a lot of American universities, you will see that a lot of their students are Nigerians. In fact, there was a particular graduation in Chicago that most of the doctors were Nigerians. The medical students that graduated were Nigerians. In the Ford, in Ford, one of the best designs ever in Ford, it was designed by a Nigerian. The most complicated computer, however, was designed by a Nigerian. We are brilliant people.
Yes, we are.
God gave us that talent. God gave us that talent. The only problem we have is bad leadership. So Nigerians have not been able to enhance the resources and the talent that we have to make this country a great country. So I'm not so surprised. That's the way we are. But this is a huge feat. Because when a 12-year-old, you expect a 12-year-old to still be playing with toys and still be trying to go to parks and enjoy herself. For somebody to be able to design something that the state felt they can commit $12 million to is a huge feat. Absolutely. That means we have a genius on our hands, and I can imagine what this girl will be in when she's 30 or 40. So,
Mayor, we have smart kids like this in Nigeria.
Of course, that's what I'm saying. We have people like that. We have, because that's what I said, all over the world, Nigerians, we are special people. We are brilliant people. Anytime we've been called to show that how brilliant we are, when we mix in other clients or we mix with people from other places, we show that we are very brilliant people. So because why we have not been able to harness that talent within the country is bad leadership. That's what I'm emphasizing. If we had been lucky with good leadership from 1960 to date, Nigeria will be one of the best nations in the world, because we not only have resources. God so loved this country that he gave us a lot of resources, and he gave us the population, and he gave us brilliant, smart people. Anywhere you go, everybody acknowledges that the Nigerians are brilliant, smart people.
All right, Chris.
Yes, I congratulate once again, Eniola. And the good thing about her is also, you see the way the name is spelled, Eniola Shokumbi. It's not the one you ask X or Z to read and make it look so actual. Some people are glorified there. You know the way they used to do it. Somebody will be Eniola, you see a dollar sign on the name. But you could see that with all sense of responsibility, I would say that our country has a way of killing talent. And that's a fact. Our country has a way of killing talent. You asked Mayor about we have so many talented young people in this country. But the question you ask yourself, do we encourage them?
Absolutely. Because I know TVC has reported some of the...
So many. There's a program you used to have. I don't know that program. There's a program people used to run. In 30 minutes, but I don't miss that program. Where you see a lot of it. Even in Lagos here, I saw that there was a time that they went to, either you people went to Makoko, one of these places. And
they've reported a lot.
Yes, a whole lot.
Government support.
There was this, I remember vividly, there was this particular small boy that you people reported. I think about 12 years or 10 or that has automatic calculation in his head. You remember that one?
Yes.
That call any figure, give him any figure, the boy within seconds will give it to you. Those are talents. In this country, we used to have the school for the gifted children in this country. Where is it? Again. And that is where some of us were crying over the policies made by the now sacked Minister of Education, who was saying that children who did not attain the age of 16 cannot go to school, university. So people support that, but I don't. Because when it comes to talent, you cannot. Bill Gates, go and check out people like Bill Gates and the rest of the point at which they became computer gurus. Most often than not, intellectualism doesn't have to do with your age.
Absolutely.
There are some children that are 9 years, they are in terms of capacity, have more intellectual capacity than even people that are 50. And this girl at 12, there was a competition where she participated. And she and her group came. The people behind the competition didn't say that it's because she's 12 years. No, she cannot. They gave them, and when they were able to put it forward, they were able to see that this is workable. And you come to realize that what is happening now is that apart from Connecticut, where she is, where they want to now take this product as a national product. And you'll be shocked because the painted name will be in her name in generations yet to come. Even when she's 90, 100, 120 and have died, our children will be benefiting from this. That is what happened. That is why you see today people like Henry Ford, Guinness, and all those people that came up with organizations and companies that outlive them, their families still benefit from it. So I commend this, and I hope that our leaders and those in charge of, you ask yourself, what has in the past 12, 15 years, what our Ministry of Science and Technology, what have they done? There was a time that I know that some people developed, before this CNG came, there were some people that developed some cars in this country that needed, you just need gas, you don't need petroleum. That didn't drive. The guy in charge of, I can't remember his name now, that's in charge of, I can't remember his name, but there's this guy, he was brought back home to be part of it. He was one of the main designers of car in the US. He's in Nigeria now. He was one,
Ford.
Yeah, I think it was Ford.
Ford, yes.
That guy deserved most of the best cars that Ford had. But they brought the guy to Nigeria. He was put in one of these parastatal in Abuja. I've not seen much that he has done since he came. I've not seen one single car that he has designed that we are producing in Nigeria. As far back as in the 70s, we had plants like Pan in Kaduna. We have Vaux here and some other things. Even now, the local ones what we have now, we don't have any car manufacturing company in Nigeria. What we have are assembly plants.
Including Innocent.
Yeah, most of them are assembly plants.
Yes.
Most of them are assembly. When they say we manufacture, most of these, but they are assembly plants. Most of what they do is that to bring most of these components to Nigeria and couple it. But the fact is that, and the most annoying part is that we have what it takes. We're talking, Mayor, you remember the last time we were here, we were talking about mineral resources in Nigeria. We have all the mineral resources to do great things. If you go to Ajaokuta and see what we can do with our iron ore, that they will call the Russians to come and build for us. About 40 years ago till now, nothing is happening. So once again, I so much commend this, and I hope that the Eniolas of this world who are in Nigeria, who don't have the opportunity of going to US, will be encouraged to showcase.
TVC has 2 special programs dedicated to this kind of things. Sunday Special and Reporters File. So,
I hope that our government, those in government, are watching that program and be able to support this. That is the problem.
Because there are supposed to be agency of state that are supposed to encourage people like this. But in Nigeria, a lot of leaders don't do what is expected of them. And there are no consequences for not doing their job. Because it is the environment that makes the people, the Enolas of this world, to thrive in America. It is the environment. Because the necessary things are provided. For example, now, the state of Connecticut just decided that, oh, this young girl has done something marvelous. And they put $12 million. $12 million is a lot of money. Yeah. Put $12 million behind it to say, okay, we want this thing produced. They didn't say, oh, this is just a 12-year-old girl that was playing around with things. So that's the environment. When you have the necessary environment, people will thrive. Our problem is that our society and the way it's run does not encourage talent.
All right, gentlemen, at this moment, let's go to Akura, where INEC is about to announce the final results.
DP 438, Party YP 134, Party YP 134, Party YPP 216, Party YPP 216, Party ZLP 2692, Party ZLP 2692. I shall now proceed for the declaration and return of the winner of the election. Okay. Okay. Total valid vote 497,077. Total valid vote 497,077. Rejected vote 11886. Rejected vote 11886. Total votes cast 508963. Total vote cast 508963. So I need to share this form first. The first copy belongs to the office. Please, can we share it now? Okay. The second copy going to Abuja. Who is taking it to Abuja? Okay. This one. The third copy, Nigerian Police Force. Nigerian Police Force.
Yes, sir. CP, sir. CP, sir.
Okay. The other copies are for the other parties. Party agents, please. Party agent present here. Party agent APC. Party agent PDP. Party agent A. Party agent AA. ADP, party agent ADP. APM. APP. NNPP. SDP. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now proceed for the declaration and return of the winner of the election. This is the paper. Form EC8E. Form EC8E.
All right, gentlemen, so what we're watching now, live pictures from the State Collation Center in Akure, where everyone is waiting for the final announcement of the results. So, gentlemen, I mean, let's talk about this Ondo governorship election. Any surprises?
No, it was obvious that Aida Tuama will win. Though Ajayi tried, but there's a problem. There are different problems. I'm not saying he has won. I said it was obvious that he
But let's
win.
focus on the process of the election before we get to. We have to wait for the final announcement of the result. The process, logistics issue, some of the factors that had raised its ugly head in this election again. First, let's talk about logistics issue.
My problem with INEC is that over time, they've always had the same problem of logistics, of beavers, machines not working, or things not being done properly. And I expected that at this time, they should have learned from conducting so many elections. And then in this case, it's even a one-off. It's a different thing when you are...
Some CSOs think it's better.
Yes.
This time was better.
When you conduct elections nationwide, but when you are doing a one-off election, I expected them to be able to do better. But relatively, I think they've done well. The logistics problem is not as prevalent as it used to be. But INEC could do better. I believe that they should be able to do better.
All right, Chris, turnout.
Yes.
Are you impressed?
It wasn't much of a surprise.
Because according to Yaga Africa,
yes, it wasn't
about
much of a
24.8% and 27.6%.
Yes, if you look at the 2023 general election, the turnout was about 28-29%. So this is just a drop from what it is. And if you look at election in Ondo State in the past 15 years, they've not crossed the 33% threshold in terms of turnout of eligible voters. So what happened is not much of a surprise. But the issue will be, how do we get people to come out subsequently to vote? Because it is about voting and electing people that are going to represent you. So if just less than 20% or less than, 30% of the citizens that are coming out, registered voters, we're not even talking of the population, we're talking of registered voters, came out to elect a governor, then it means that whatever he does tomorrow, you don't have a say because you are not part of the system. So if 30% came out, and we're talking, when you say 30%, that 30% did not vote for the winner only. It's cut across board. So probably the person that won probably would have gotten about 20%. Then the other people will share the remaining 10%. So it is not good enough. And that is, it's not only in Ondo. We saw the same thing in Edo State, the last election in Edo State. You come to find out, how you look at it, how many people came out. But in terms of logistics, that was a big improvement from what we had, what we saw in Edo State, because by the report of Yaga Africans, other election observers, most of the materials got to the police station at the right time. Election started, in fact, it was said that in all the three zones, as it were, in Edo State, election started about 8:30, within 10 minutes interval, in all, close to about 90% of the world. So it was a big improvement. And that is why you also saw that even in the collation of results, you can see how quick it was. INEC was able to upload the results to the IRF. About 90% came in just within about 4 or 5 hours after the election. So it was then you also look at the issue of security. Fantastic. But where the main problems still remain, the big elephant in the house for us now is vote buying. Because vote buying has been taken to the next level. Yesterday, just as it happened in Ondo State, this you saw yesterday, where an individual was caught with Ghana must go full with Naira. But let me tell you that Nigerians have also gone technical and more technology.
Before we continue with the issue of vote buying, let me get back to Mayor. Voter turnout, voter apathy, it's not peculiar to Nigeria. Do you think it's an exaggerated factor?
I think the problem has to do with the fact that because you have the number of registered voters does not mean that it is accurate. Politicians have a way of registering a lot of people.
Okay.
There are people, they call them ECOMOG, who move around, who they use to register.
Isn't that a challenge INEC needs to deal with?
Yes, they'll be able to do that. They'll be able to combat that challenge by making sure...
I do apologize,
okay.
Mayor. We have to go back to our career. When we come back, we'll continue this analysis.
Rotimi Akinwumi, hereby certify that I am the returning officer for the 2024 Ondo State governorship election held on the 16th day of November 2024. The election was contested. The candidates received the following votes: Falaye Abraham Ajibola, 186. Falaye Abraham Ajibola of A Party received 186. Akin Nudi Fred Omolere of AA Party received 58. Ajayi Adekunle Oluwaseyi of AAC 304. Nejo Adeyemi of ADC 4138. Akinodi Ayodeji Emmanuel of ADP 1522. Ayedatiwa Lucky Orimisan of APC 366781. Popola Olatunji Tunde APGA 623. Ogun Feyimi Isaac Kolawole of APM 162. Fadoju Amos Babatunde APP 3. For the Labour Party, there is a court case that the name should be substituted with Olorunfemi Ayodele Festus. Olorunfemi Ayodele Festus 1162. 1162. Olugbenga Omogbemi Edema of NNPP 206. Ajaun Noko Fumilayo Jenyo of NRM 298. Ajayi Alfred Agbola of PDP 11784. Ali Babatunde Francis of PRP 229. Akingboye Benson Bamidele of SDP 43. Adegoke Kehinde Paul of YP 134. Akinmurele John Otitoloju EP 216. Mimiko Olubansile Abbas of ZLP 2692. That Ayedatiwa Lucky Orimisan of APC having satisfied the requirement of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected. Signed by Professor. Thank you and God bless Nigeria. Please, party agent, just come and collect your copies, please.
Party.
This is a live feed of the celebratory mood after INEC has just declared Lucky Ayedatiwa APC governorship candidate in the just concluded Ondo governorship election as the winner of the Ondo 2024 governorship election. And according to the results just announced by the state returning officer, Professor Olayemi Akinwumi, Vice Chancellor of the Federal University, Lokoja, Kogi State, APC garnered 366,781, while the PDP garnered 117,845. The ZLP garnered 2,692, while Labour Party 1,162, and the SDP with 438. Watching a live feed of the celebratory mood from where the governor of the state, Lucky Ayedatiwa, and other governors of the APC are at the moment. So that's it. The winner has been announced. APC governorship candidate, who is incumbent governor of Ondo State, Lucky Ayedatiwa, has just been announced. And look at, the support from other governors. How significant is this?
Well, very significant. There's this solidarity issue, and all of them are there to support one of their own. It has become a tradition. It has become a tradition. Yes, you see, Imo State governor, they see that of Lagos State, Borno State governor.
The national chairman of the party.
Yeah, national chairman of the party. And other governors, as I said, it has become the norm. Don't forget that during the last campaign also, by the party, most of them were there, just as they were in Edo State. The governors of the PDP were also at the last rally by the PDP a few days before the election. So there's always this celebration and solidarity. So congratulations to the winner, Governor Ayedatiwa, who has emerged. Just as Mayor said, now we can discuss it. So it's not that. But whether the issue is whether one is surprised, I won't say I'm surprised. I'm not surprised by what we have said. The only surprising thing for me is that the APC was able to clear all the local government. Yes, about 18 of them. And I was shocked that even the local government of the PDP candidate, in the person of Mr. Agbola.
But the PDP candidate seems strong.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I say he was a former deputy governor. But don't forget that he has gone through so many processes. At the last election, he was the governorship candidate of another party, not the PDP. I think it was ZLP or so that he was last. I can't remember which one now. Now he now moved to PDP. But even PDP in itself, in that state, they are nowhere united. There was a lot of division. What APC had going for them is that despite the challenges they had after the primaries, because they also had serious issues. You remember vividly what happened with the senator, where is this now? Jimo Ibrahim. Jimo Ibrahim. Yeah, especially Jimo Ibrahim. It was even Jimo Ibrahim.
But Jimo Ibrahim from that same area.
Yeah, that same area. And he vehemently opposed the candidature of the governor as the candidate of the party. But the party were able to manage it.
It was more about the process and not the candidate.
Yes, the process. But is there a process without a candidate? So the fact remains that. But the APC was able to put their hands together. And those within the hierarchy of APC were able to call him and say, can you just let can we just let go? So they can talk all that. And they were able to come together and put their hands together.
And they supported.
That's what I'm saying. That's not the same thing with people. The worst for me is the Labour Party, because I thought that Labour Party, don't forget that Labour Party had produced a former governor in Ondo State, in the person of Shegu Mimiko. He was a former governor, in fact, two-time governor of Ondo State, under that party. And you expect that party to... But the problem is that up to the day, a day before, nobody even knows who the candidate of the Labour Party was, because there was a court of appeal judgment that came in just a few hours before the election, which now set aside the person that we are thought. All
right, Chris, I'll come back to you. Let's take reactions from some of the governors speaking at the moment.
To congratulate my brother, my friend, the executive governor of Ondo State, Excellency Lucky Ayedatiwa, for his people giving him another mandate to run this state for another 4 years. And really to thank all of ourselves, for supporting him, for supporting Mr. President, to thank our party, the APC, that is here led by our national chairman, Dr. Bumaru Ganduje, for the support and the leadership they continue to show as a party, to continue to ensure that, all of the programs and objectives of the party are being taken care of, and to show people that when you work very hard, your people have a way of demonstrating their support for you, and that's what has happened here today. Is won in all of the 18 local governments of the state, and is indeed recorded as, a landslide victory for him and for the people of Ondo State. For me, it's just an assignment that we're grateful that the party has given us the opportunity to serve it once again, and we did continue to do the very best at all times. Thank you.
Well, thank you. There's no doubt this is a moment of joy. Seeing is believing, and this is democracy in action. But what is more important is that all the major stakeholders in conducting this election believe that the election is free, fair, and credible. Especially INEC, who provided the logistics arrangement, the manpower arrangement, and especially the security agencies, especially the police, the DSS, the civil defense, the military, and also the media, both print and electronic media, who presented what actually happened on the ground, and also the international organizations, international observers, the civil societies, even the community-based organizations. Almost everybody believes that this election is free, fair, and credible. And what is important to the people of Ondo State is that since they elected APC, they elected our candidate, they have elected for continuity, because there will be continuity in governance. There will be no abandonment of projects. There will be sustainability of programs and projects. And I congratulate for that. I congratulate the candidate himself, because it's a product that is sellable, and we are lucky that we have succeeded in selling him to the members of the public. We have to congratulate Mr. President for providing an enabling environment to he avoided influencing or subterranean influence in this election. Therefore, we have to congratulate him for that. Our next target now, in this geopolitical zone, the southwest geopolitical zone, our next target, and you know we are good in hitting the target, that is Osun State and Oyo State. We assure you, we'll do all what is possible to bring them into the fold so that we have political homogeneity in the southwest geopolitical zone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. My guy, thank you.
All right, Mayor, let me come to you. So this is a landslide victory. And I mean, we understand the power of incumbency, but with a candidate like Agbola Ajayi, many expected something like 15-3, 16-2, but 18-0.
Yeah, there are a lot of reasons for that. One, I want to congratulate Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa because he went through a lot of challenges. He was even almost impeached as deputy governor. And he had this running battle with the former governor's political family, and he survived it.
Even some of the federal lawmakers.
Yes, and he survived it. So I'm very happy for him. But the problem with PDP, there are reasons for that landslide victory. One, the two candidates, both of the APC and PDP, are from the same senatorial district. They are both from the riverine areas of the state. And, you know, Agbola was a former deputy governor, but there's a limit to what you can really do as a deputy governor. You understand? You are like an
as a former deputy governor?
No, even when you were deputy governor, there's a limit to what you can achieve because you are not a governor. So by the time he left and was a former deputy governor, he cannot have the kind of standing like somebody who was not only a deputy governor, but a governor. So that gave him an edge over Ajayi in their senatorial district. The senatorial district have now come to accept Aiyedatiwa as a leader from that area. So that was why he couldn't win his local government because they're from the same area and the people has already accepted. Apart from that, PDP as a party is not as strong as it should be, you know, because, you know, when you have a party that is not in government, they will not be in a position to distribute the largest of government to their supporters. So their supporters has been outside government, as it were. So, and the way the Nigerian politics run, a lot of people, especially the grassroots mobilizer, will have drifted to APC for them to be able to survive. There are some people, that's what they survive on. So the PDP as a political party does not have what it takes to be able to keep their supporters happy. So that also work against them. Apart from that, the party itself is not united. There is a lot of infighting within the party. So the party is not strong, and they don't have enough resources to be able to match APC. So there's so many things against PDP as a party. So I'm not surprised that Aiyedatiwa was able to have a landslide.
All right, Chris, let's talk about the process again, because despite, you know, increased or enhanced, let me say, technological support for INEC, why do we still have to wait to the next day for the announcement of results?
Well, the fact remains that despite the kind of upscale we've had in the area of technology, there are still certain things that you still have to do physically. Manually. Let me use that, physically, manually. Yes, you can see that the last result came from the riverine areas that are far away from Akure. So, therefore, that, the result would have been, and I told you that as of yesterday, over 95% of the result have been uploaded on INEC IREF, which to me was commendable. But even at that, you still have to go through the manual process of making sure that the various electoral officers in charge in the local government still come with that certified copy result that was signed by every member of the all those political parties. So that is always existing. We've not gotten to a point where we are, unlike in the United States. You saw what happened in the United States. They had a presidential election, and within hours, results were, in fact, you don't even need the list. You don't even announce. You don't have the forecast.
The TV network call it another.
They just forecast. But you still realize that they also have their own challenges. If you remember vividly what happened during the election, the last one before this, the one in the United States, where it took a long time to be able to get results in some states, like Georgia.
No, because of the recount.
Because of
the recount.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking of technology. So even with that technology, there was still a recount because it was too close.
Yes.
So they had to wait for manual recount. All over again. So it happened. Like India, if an election is held in India today, do you know that it takes up to 2 months before the final result? Yes. Go and check. They had an election. At times it takes up to 2 months because India is the largest democracy in the world now. They are the highest. They have the highest number. But with that level of technology, so we are getting there. But my own problem is the credibility of the process, because there have been instances where, despite the fact that we have this uploading of results, but it comes to a point that even when people now bring the physical papers and the rest of it, you come to see that there's some kind of discrepancy between what was loaded on the IREF portal and the final. So that is where you ask yourself is that, where I want to see is that, will there come a day in Nigeria that we have an election and nobody will go to court? Mayor?
Maybe. It's not possible because we are bad losers. That's how politics is. In America, the last election, Donald Trump was a bad loser. He didn't accept the result. He didn't congratulate the winner. You understand? So it's like that. There are still politicians. There will still be some politicians who are bad losers.
So it's not really a Nigerian thing.
It's not a Nigerian thing. There are some politicians who are bad losers who will not want to accept defeat. So people will always go to court because for various reasons. People will also go to court. What is important is for us to be able to convince the generality of people that the process was fair, which I think was what happened in this case. You know, relatively, there were not enough complaints about the process because, like I said, because it's a one-off election, INEC was able to put its acts together. You know, they were concentrating. It's a one-off election, so they are concentrating on that one. So they're able to do better when it comes to logistics and the other things that you need. But yes, the IREF that you mentioned, there will always be that because somebody will post those results to IREF and there could be mistakes. What is important is the one that was signed by agents of the different political parties. That supersedes whatever you say on IREF.
That's what I was talking about. That at times that's why some of those delays because. Yeah. But even at that, you come to realize that even at that, you still see some agents of political parties, despite the fact that they sign, still come at the collation center. You see several times, and they still say, "Oh no, I did not."
That's irrelevant. Immediately you sign, if it's signed, it's binding because you have the option not to sign.
My own take is that, and that's back to the question I asked: if the process is seen to be fair, I see people trying giving up. Let me give a classical example. It has happened in this country. In 2015, we had a presidential election where an incumbent president, good Lord,
considered, yes,
saw that the election was free and fair for him. And even before the result was called, he called his opponent, who was President Buhari.
So I think that's Jonathan.
That is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. Because he, within himself, felt that the
no, because he's a good man.
Yes.
It's just because he's a good man.
Yes. That's what
Jonathan is a good man.
About the process. It's actually about
Jonathan is a good man. That was why he did that.
Why do we have bad politicians?
You always have, you see, that's what maybe you always have that people are different. So you always have some people that will not want to accept, even when it is obvious that they lost. That's why I gave example last 4 years ago in America. Donald Trump claimed he didn't lose. He's still insisting that he didn't lose. But he lost. So that's how it works.
So I want us to talk about the task ahead of the governor. But before then, let's talk about security measures, militarization of our elections. Can we ever grow beyond this?
There's no way we won't do that. There's no way we won't achieve that for different reasons. Two, one, our democracy relatively is still young. When people compare us with other climes, you see in America they have over 300 years of democracy. You understand? So you cannot compare that. Our democracy is still young. Because our democracy is still young, there is still tendencies for winner wins all. You know, before, thuggery and votes, the ballot snatching was part of our election. We have reduced that now. Okay, but it will be foolhardy for us not to put security in place, because if we don't do that, some people will use these same talks to go to what they used to do and then put violence down, and people will not feel safe to contest. So we will still need to have that security arrangement. And you know, because of the challenges that we have in Nigeria now, our police have shown over time that they cannot cope alone. So the military have to assist them in solving, yes, on other security, in solving security problems. So when we have election, when they want to provide security, you will not only see police, but you see the other security agencies there. So it's not really militarization, but it's just that because of the circumstances of the way we run election here, we have to provide security.
Chris, would you like to say something about that?
Yes,
because for some people, it's not about the security measure. It's really about the number of security personnel deployed.
I totally agree with you with that, because on that, look at it, about 40,000 policemen were deployed to Ondo State for this election. This is an off-cycle election. At the general election, can you deploy 40,000 to Ondo State? Of course not. What's our police force? What's the number? Less than 500,000, or a little above 500,000, about 500, 550.
I think some Nigerians will continue to doubt that number.
No.
That's what I wanted to tell you.
Let me tell you, that is what they'll be saying. But out of that 500,000, just coming. Out of that 500,000, you can rest assured that about 100,000 have been sent to VIPs. That is what the problem is always. So when we're talking about the number, you are looking at the number on ground. But most of those numbers are with VIPs. You see some VIPs that have as many as about 10. How many policemen do you see with a governor? Even ordinary local government chairman. That's about 3 or 4 with him. Bank chiefs and all these other people, so-called big boys.
And big people like you.
People like you, Mayor. So those are the issues. But what I'm saying in essence, until we be able to make our election that it doesn't look like a do or die. Let me give you a classical example. Just Ghana here. If an election is being held in Ghana, on the day of election, people go about their businesses. Mayor, you are aware of that.
Correct.
Mayor, we were together in Ivory Coast.
Yes.
And we saw in Ivory Coast that you can hardly see policemen. And the whole place was orderly. You don't need, I don't know how many times, even when we're going to the stadium, I don't know how many times we saw policemen. Unlike what we're saying here. So what I'm saying is that we have done hours, if we're going to have an election, the IG of police will give an order that there will not be any movement of vehicles or blah, blah, blah from 12 midnight to... For goodness sake, we paralyze all economic activity. In what part of the world do we do that? Why do we need to do that? But most of these things have been demystified gradually, whether correctly or incorrectly. I would give you a classic example. See what happened in Rivers State, where the police had a court order that they will not participate in the local government election. Mayor, whether that election was valid or not, there was an election in Rivers State, and there was no killing of a single human being. So what am I saying is that if the people on their own decide that the process will be as easy and solely as it's supposed to be, we don't need this a whole lot of policemen everywhere on a day of election, because that in itself, over militarizing, also affect people coming out.
Come out.
Because the pressure you give people that it is not going to be violent, they're going to be violent. So people will rather stay in their house or stay by their backyard and be playing football. Those that want to play you will be playing you. That is part of the problem when we are talking about the voter apathy. Because I, knowing fully well that, well, if I'm going out to vote, I don't know what will be the outcome, whether I will come out alive and the rest of that. I'd rather stay in my house. That is true. Then also the parties that when we talk about voter apathy, most people no longer have confidence in the system. They believe that whether you vote or not, a result will be announced. So what they just believe is that, for goodness sake, why should I go and vote?
Are we doing enough when it comes to voter education?
Yes. We might not be doing enough. We might say we're not. But the question you ask yourself, who does that? There are about 3 layers. One is INEC. Second is the political parties. Then third is civil societies. The question you ask yourself, how much of voter education do the political parties have? All you just see them is just do rallies. That is what in the United States, this election that happened, the presidential candidate, the 2 presidential candidates, we are sending people to go what we call No, door by door.
Door to door.
Door to door. In fact, most of the presidential candidates were even doing it themselves. You saw Donald Trump, where he went to eateries, serving food. You saw Kamala Harris. That is how it is done. So that before the election, people are well sensitized. But even here, you don't get to see that. Most of the job is left for the media houses, journalists. We do most of the job.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, because of time, let's talk about the task ahead of Governor Ayedatiwa.
He has his job cut out for him. And he has, after the death of Akeredolu and he became governor, he has done relatively well. What he needs to do is to do better, to work on the platform that he has now. It's not a new governor per se. He has been, unfortunately, because the governor died, he has been able to be in the saddle, and then so he understands what needs to be done. Ondo is relatively a comfortable state. It's an oil-producing state, so they have enough resources to be able to turn the place around. And sorry?
I said a civil service state.
Yes, yeah, but they have oil too. They have oil. They are one of the oil-producing states.
I know,
so they collect derivation. So, but I think that those who have ruled Ondo, with all respect to them, have not done enough. Why I'm saying so is that economically, Ondo should be better the way it is. They are not making use of the water that they have. They have the deepest part of the ocean in any state. They should be able to have a free trade zone that should rival the one of Lagos. They should be able to have a port that should rival the one in Lagos. They should be able to create an hub for that part of the country, an economic hub that the state will benefit from. I think they should concentrate more on things like that.
All right, gentlemen, let's go for a break, and when we come back, we'll move on to other matters. Stay with us, everyone.
Quality, wires and cables, come and come back, light up your life. Come and want to light up your house, come and want to give you better, come and extraordinary wire. Come and cables, come and wires, come and quality, come and durable, come and capable, come and cables, come and wires, come and quality, come and durable, come and capable. Everybody, come and see, come and wires, one in the days. Brother, sister, uncle, auntie, go get your own. Come and wires, come and cables, come and quality, come and durable, come and capable. Come and wires, come and cables, come and quality, come and durable, come and capable.
Coleman Wires and Cable. Great quality. Now with the new look.
Welcome back, everyone. We'll move on to our next story. Achieving national unity and development has continued to be a mirage of some sort for Nigeria due to faulty constitution. A former Commonwealth Secretary General, Emeka Anyako, has warned that if Nigeria refused to do away with the 1999 constitution, it will be hard for anyone to fix the country. Anyako described Nigeria as a pluralist country that needs to address its diversity with a true federal constitution. He added that pluralistic countries would have survived as single political entities in unity and progress, and those that addressed their diversity with genuine federal constitutions, citing examples of India, Canada, and Switzerland. The former Commonwealth Secretary General stressed that if a pluralistic Nigeria is to achieve true unity and political stability to successfully tackle its challenges, it must have a truly federal constitution. Chris, let me start with you.
Yeah, I totally agree with what the statesman said. Some of us have been saying it for a long time that the current constitution that we operate in, the 1999 constitution, as amended, is not able to address most of the challenges facing us as a people. That is one part. The second part is the fact that, you know, at the beginning of that constitution, they say, we Nigerians, that constitution had no we. Because we as Nigerians did not come together. We did not come together to agree on that constitution. That was a constitution that was imposed on us by the military in 1999 when they were about handing over to the civilians. So You cannot say that we have a constitution that was duly agreed by the generalities of Nigerians that this is where we want to go. And that is why we find ourselves where we are. Because in the 1999 constitution, so much power is being concentrated in the center. So much, and that in itself is a problem. And that is why the states are not moving at the pace they need to move. We are just talking about Ondo State. I may you talk about some of the why Ondo State should be able to go beyond. And you have to understand the fact that the second largest butane deposit in the whole of the world is in Nigeria. And most of it is in Ondo State. And you ask yourself, why is that? The problem is that Ondo as a state and the government of Ondo cannot be able to exploit that mineral resources until it gets approval from there because it doesn't have the power. That's what the Constitution says. You look at our mineral resources, go to Kogi State, go and see the level of mineral resources deposit in Kogi State. In fact, Mayor, you remember last time we were here, we were talking about cement and the high cost of cement. We have limestone in abundance in Kogi State. And there are so many other states where, if you look at them, there is no state in Nigeria that does not have any mineral resources that it cannot call its own. But they cannot even be able to exploit because of the way we structure our constitution. So what we have said, unlike what we had in the First Republic, what we had during the parliamentary system is that every state developed at its own rate and now bring something to the center. Most of the achievement that was achieved in the Southwest then was through cocoa. It was through cocoa. In the North, we had the pyramids, the granite pyramids. That was the high point. In the East, you have coal. That was theirs. It was not until we start discovering this oil that I don't know whether it's a blessing or a cost to us as a country, because other countries that also have similar oil, we know what they've done with theirs. So I totally agree with him that there is the need for us to tear down the Constitution as it is. What we have been doing is just patch approach. We are looking at it, let us look at this section of the Constitution, we just patch it up, and we got the problem. And the problem, another problem is that when you want to amend the current 1999 Constitution, you know the problem you go through? And that was not be able to. Apart from the National Assembly agreeing on the amendment, that amendment has to be taken to the 36 states of the federations, state houses of assembly, to endorse it. So if they don't, after they endorse it, they will not bring it back to the National Assembly. And before you know it, you are not making an achievement. The question you ask yourself, why is it that go and check through from 1960 till now, we have no civilian government has been able to create a state in Nigeria. Go and check it. All the states that we have, right from the 12, we started from 12, I think to 17 or 21, from 21, all were created by the military. Because the problem of creating state itself is so cumbersome. So I totally agree that I would have thought that we had an opportunity in getting it right. And that was with the CONFAB, the national conference that we had. I can't remember the year now. I think it was during the Good Lord Jonathan. If we had followed that national conference to the letter and make sure that it might not be perfect, but that would have been the beginning for us. If we have followed it, and it was Good Lord Jonathan that made the mistake, because what he would have done after this was to have sent the report of that conference to the National Assembly.
All right. Mayor.
But we didn't, and we lost it.
Right. So do you agree with Sekian, a further amendment or a new constitution?
Let me start by saying that the problem we have with the Constitution, 1999 Constitution as amended, is that we claim we are running a federation. We are running federalism, but it's a unitary constitution. Because the military, the way the military is structured, is a command structure. The power flows from the CNC down. So in putting together the constitution, they made a lot of mistakes so that the federative units do not have the kind of powers that they should have. I concede that. So the 1999 constitution is not perfect. But what I don't agree is that you cannot fix a country because you don't have a constitution that promotes federalism. I don't agree with that. You don't need a constitution to fix your country. UK, for example, practice unwritten constitution. They use unwritten constitution, and it works. So it's not because it is what you write. You can fix your country through good governance without the inadequacies within your constitution. Having said that, we can also make do with what we have and do a better job of it by amending the necessary structures in it. The problem is that it is cumbersome and there's no will to change things. For example, there was a time that some people in the National Assembly suggested that each state assembly should be financially independent of the executive. And it has to go around the state house of assemblies to be able to pass. A lot of the state house of assembly voted against their independence because that is what the executive asked them to do. So the constitution, yes, we can make the constitution better, but we don't have the political will to so do. So I agree, yes, that we run a constitution that is unitary instead of practicing true federalism. Yes, we need to tinker with it, I agree, but I don't agree that it's the constitution that makes it impossible for us to fix our country. It is bad leadership that made it impossible for us to fix our country.
All right, so Sikian, let's take it off from where Mayor stopped. Even with a new constitution, if the political leadership of this country is still the same, if typical Nigeria is all about acquiring everything for himself or herself, what progress or what change will the new constitution make?
I totally agree with you. I agree with you to a large extent, and also Mayor. But let me give you a classical example of what I'm talking about. Let's take roads. Most often than not, you see the deplorable nature of the federal roads in Nigeria, and they pass through the states. Now, a state governor decide, because most often than not, the people, let's talk Lagos now. Most Lagosians don't know the difference between federal road and state road. So if any road is bad in Lagos, it's on Wolu. Most of the roads in Ogun State that people are complaining, oh, Ogun roads are, they're federal roads. Go and check the Mayor is a Lagosian. Go and check the Oshodi, Ota, Abeokuta road. Go and see the terrible state that road is. It's a federal road. But people of Lagos will blame Sanwo-Olu. People of Ogun will blame Abiodun. But you know the problem there? If Governor Sanwo-Olu decides to fix that road today, the Federal Ministry of Works will say you don't have a right to touch that road. It's happened. The
problem is because you want refund.
And they get refund.
Yes, because you want to get refund, you have to inform them.
No, some of them have said they don't want refund. That we're going to fix.
No, if you don't want refund, they will give it to you.
Some have said there have been instances where they refused.
No, that was before. But now,
Mayor,
Ogun State and Lagos, they did the federal road from Ogun to Ekpe.
Mayor, I am telling you there have been instances in the past.
In the past, yes, I agree.
We had those I'm talking about.
The reason for that was because there were different political parties.
Yes,
running at the federal level.
We had those issues. So those are the part of things. I totally agree that the Constitution itself, we amend it or we change it, is the same set of leaders. For goodness sake, even at that. The Constitution, if we adhere strictly to the tenets of the Constitution, our problem has not been having the necessary laws in Nigeria. The problem has always been implementation. But I am telling you that we have so many hindrances based on the 1999 Constitution as amended. They have tied their hands. Let us look at resource control. Whatever comes from the center, the federal government takes about 51%.
Which is wrong?
That's what I'm saying, which is wrong. That is what the Constitution says. The 36 states of Nigeria and 774 local government shares the remaining 49%. Is that on a constitutional issue?
But that can
so
be
changed. That is what I'm saying. It can be changed.
You can make that and change it.
About the political
that is,
to change.
Mayor, what
they don't want to do that.
No. The fact remains that except we amend, that was talk I said we can amend or we change. But the issue of amending,
the argument is that we agree that there's imperfections in that constitution.
Yeah.
But there are some, for example, you can amend and change the resource control. You can remove a lot of things from the exclusive list and put it on concurrent list. Everybody can sit down and agree and amend the constitution to do that. What is wrong? What is so difficult in doing that?
But the
the political will to do those things, that is what is lacking. That's why I give you the example of the House of Assembly, when people said House of Assemblies should be financially independent so that the executive will not dictate to them, they voted against it and said no.
Even the local government.
There are some local government now that said we don't want independence. Don't give us our money. We want to collect our money through the government. That's part of the problem, because the executive will dictate to some people, and they will do what they are beholden to the executive, and they will do what they want. That has nothing to do with your constitution.
So really, it's not about the constitution.
No, that's nothing to do with the constitution. It's the will to change those things that are not perfect in that constitution.
Yeah,
no, I do not.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I know you do not.
Yes, why? I don't. Because why I don't agree with you is I'm a graduate of law. I've read this constitution from beginning to end. And I have seen a lot of lacuna within the constitution.
We agree.
So that's why which is what Anyoku, which is what, let us not debate from the discussion itself. Okay. I am not saying that leadership, we have gotten our leadership right. I didn't say that. I never said that. It's just like what we are saying now is, oh, let the INEC conduct local government elections and the rest of them. It's neither here nor there for me. But what I'm saying is that the 1999 Constitution currently, as we have it, we need either a total overhaul of the Constitution or serious amendment to be able to get. My own point is that there's so much power concentrated in the center, and we need to allow. And for goodness' sake, it has, and the Constitution has made the state very.
Sorry, I think both of you are saying the same.
Yes,
we agree with you.
The Constitution has made the state so lazy. The Constitution has made the state so lazy that what every one of them do is that to wait until the end of the month to go to Abuja, share money, come back home. People are not even taking it. But the excuses they will always give you is that, oh, okay, I have vitamin in my state. Osun State has gold. Currently, the Ministry of Mines is having serious issue with Osun State government on the issue of gold. The state said, no, we can be able to handle it. They said, no. So what I'm saying is, it says that no matter whatever, whether leadership or non-leadership, the ground norm, which is what we call the Constitution, is our ground norm. Until something is done to the current 1999 Constitution as we have, we might not be able to move forward, whether leaders or non-leaders. Yes.
Have been to the president, and the president has said, for now, what I'm after is the economy. When I'm done fixing the economy, we can now come to a new constitution.
Because if they go to confab, it's just waste of time.
So
we did that.
The question is,
they just did that to satisfy people.
If today the president says, okay, let's have it, where do we begin from?
That's what I'm saying. If you want to do another confab, it's a bloody waste of time.
And
when Jonathan did the confab, he set up the confab to satisfy people's agitation. But for you to know that just to satisfy people's agitation, the confab, the document that came out of it was beautiful. But they just put it on the shelf. Nobody executed it. And my own argument is that we agree that the constitution is not the right constitution that it was imposed on us by the military. I concede that. But my own argument is that, one, I don't agree that it is because of the constitution that you cannot fix your country. That is crap. Why can you say you cannot fix your country because of constitution? There are some constitutions that are not written. That's why I say UK. UK doesn't have a constitution. And they still run their country. Yeah, but my own argument now is that even the constitution as it is, with all the imperfections, if you identify the areas that are not perfect, like resource control, like devolution of powers, like removing things from the exclusive to the, you can change that. If everybody agree that, oh, these are the things that should have been put in this constitution, and they were not put there, then you sit down and change it. Why is it that you cannot amend that? Right. But I said that there's no political will to do that.
Mayor, I said the process is, that's what I'm saying, you get my point. The process of making that amendment is a problem.
No, it is. It is cumbersome, I agree.
Very, very cumbersome.
But that does not, because something is cumbersome does not mean it's not achievable. It's able to change things from the constitution.
Achievable. It's not achievable.
But they don't have the political to do that. That's why I gave the example of the House of Assemblies that are supposed to benefit them, so that they don't need to wait for the executive to be able to get their own money from the first line at charge. But they refuse and shut it down.
They did not refuse. It's the governors that delegated it. They have no choice.
Exactly. So why did they agree on that?
It's the governors that delegated them.
Let's move on quickly to the final lap of today's conversation. The onslaught against the banditry in Nigeria continues to yield positive results. In another cheering news, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, has handed over 58 kidnapped victims rescued by security agencies during joint operations to the Kaduna State government. The matter transferred the victims to the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, who in turn handed them over to the state government. General Musa, who presented the victims to the representative of the state government and Chief of Staff to the Governor, Sani Killer, confirmed that no money was paid for their rescue. The defense chief also mentioned that certain individuals have been trying to undermine the government's efforts. Let's share the story by TVC News On with you.
It's been a harrowing journey to freedom for these victims, kidnapped from their villages in Katsina State and held in deplorable conditions by bandits in the Biringwari area of Kaduna State. The group includes 35 men, 23 women, and even a 2-year-old boy, Ahmed Jibrin, who endured unimaginable suffering. Now they are being welcomed in Abuja by the National Security Advisor at his office.
It was the worst moment of my life. I wouldn't wish such a condition on my worst enemy. I never thought I would regain my freedom. Thank God for the security forces.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, highlights the success of the security forces intervention.
What we are seeing out of this number is the success of the collaboration right from the top, from the presidency to the Office of the National Security Advisor, the Ministry of Defense to Defense, all agencies working together, including Kaduna State. The governor has been very, very supportive and very helpful. And it is this collaborative effort that has made it possible for us to be able to rescue these individuals. I know the question is, how were they rescued? It's a joint effort. We're able to do that through non-kinetic means of getting across. No penny was paid for these individuals.
He emphasizes the military's commitment to intensifying operations against threats to national security.
Why would somebody kidnap these kind of people? If you see them, they are barely just surviving. And that's to tell you that there are individuals that on their own are trying to make it impossible for the government to succeed. They are doing everything possible to sabotage the efforts of the government. That will not happen. I want to also inform Nigerians that we will continue to work hard together. We will not leave any stone unturned until every Nigerian that is in captivity is freed. Nigerians are free to move about within the country, both day and night, as it used to be before.
Later, the National Security Advisor officially handed over the rescued victims to Sani Killer, the Chief of Staff to the Kaduna State Governor, for further care and rehabilitation.
Security is everybody's business. Let's team up and fight these menace.
Beyond those significant rescues, security forces are reportedly increasing operations against bandits and terror warlords across their strongholds. Sifon Essien, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, Mayor, your first reaction to this story.
Yeah, it's a very welcome development. I want to commend the National Security Advisor and the security chiefs, because when things go wrong, we criticize them all the time. So when they make successes like this, we should also commend them. It's so sad that young people, innocent Nigerians, can just be kidnapped. It shows the level of insecurity in so many states in the Northwest, especially in the Northwest. Banditry has become a major problem for us now in the country, and it's so easy to kidnap Nigerians, which shouldn't be the case. But we have to commend them when they make successes like this. Recently, they've been doing very well. A lot of these bandits have been, the leaders have been killed, and they are making success. They are achieving success in different states, which is commendable. But above that, we should look for a state where we'll be able to reduce this banditry to a minimal level, because it has now become a way of life in the North, which shouldn't be the case. As we commend them, we have to enjoin them to be able to do more, so that there won't be a fearful environment where every Nigerian is not sure whether he or she will be kidnapped by these so-called bandits who are just criminals.
All right, Chris, I mean, you heard that story, and I think one of the most interesting things from that story is him talking about the kind of support they got from the governor. Which means that the era of blame game is over.
Yes, it is. And what some of us have always advocated is that we have some level of cooperation between the various military. Okay. The problem we've always had in the past is everybody trying to do his own thing. The army is doing something, the navy is doing something else, the air force is doing theirs, the police, and they are supposed to be a coordinating place. And the sharing of intelligence has always been a factor. Okay, and that is where the office of the NSA comes in. And good enough, the office of the NSA, with that of the chief of the defense staff, seems to be working together, and that's why we'll be able to achieve what we have achieved. But the problem still remains that the main kingpin of these bandits, what are we doing about them? This particular set of people were kidnapped by a notorious bandit called Jambros. And he kidnapped them in Katsina State and made them to trek through the forest for several hundreds of kilometers through the Gwari forest.
It was some very young kids.
There was a 2-year-old kid there. And after trekking, they trek from Katsina to Kaduna. That's a boy, 2 years old boy. They were made to trek from Katsina to Kaduna. If you drive, if you're somebody that is comfortable with that route, if you are going from Katsina to Kaduna or from Kaduna by road, it will take you hours. So for you to imagine that these people trekked through the bushes to be able to find themselves in Kaduna is an issue. And this is just one set of some of the. You can imagine the number of those still in the forest that have not been rescued. So we commend our security agencies. Where they are doing well, we need to commend them. But we still believe that we still have more. They can still do more. No. Because there are so many Nigerians that are living under serious insecurity, especially in the north. Now, while we are still battling with all these bandits and a new mist has come in, the Lukarawas or whatever they call them now, that the government, that the military are now telling us that they're even more dangerous than. And the question some of us have asked is that, how come that the military is just, they say it's a new terrorist group. It's a lie. It's not new. On this program, we'll be talking about that part. I'm telling you, we'll be talking about it since 2018. Yes, we have. I know that DKO several times on this program, we have been talking about it. But the military came out about 2 weeks ago saying, hey, new terrorist group. The problem is that when they started establishing themselves, what do we do to take them out? Because that was how Boko Haram started. Boko Haram came with the comment that, oh, we're teaching Islam, not teaching Islam, Western education is good, Western education is not good, and people were falling for it and believing that this. At the point, by the time we knew what was happening, it blew on our faces when their leader was killed, and only for us to realize that, for goodness sake, these guys are more than what we thought. And with the porous border we are currently having, especially within the Niger-Chad border, and with the problem that ISIS is having, which is making a lot of them pushing themselves from Libya to Nigeria, we are going to have a lot of challenges, especially within the north. So I commend our military for what they've done and hope that we'll have this level of collaborative. But the most important, the last one is that, as we used to say, if you see something, say something. Very, very key. But for you to be able to say something, our military must also build the confidence of the people that whatever information they are giving them, they will be able to use it.
All right, Mayor, a few minutes to go. But Governor Obasani, for instance, is calling for regional collaboration to tackle, Governor Obasani is calling for regional collaboration to tackle insecurity. And the question is, for some people, what then is being discussed at some of those regional security summits?
I agree with you. What he's trying to say is that it is important for states to collaborate, to be able, because part of the problem with these bandits is that when the security agencies take on these bandits, they move from that state, if it is too hot for them to survive, and move to another state and continue their nonsense there. So there's need for the governors of the northwest zone, where this banditry is more prevalent, to have this synergy of sharing intelligence, sharing logistics support for the security forces, and then so that we'll be able to know that, okay, this is what we are doing in our state, this is what I'm doing in my state, this is how we can collaborate so that we can take them on at the same time. Without doing that, it will be difficult because I've always advocated that we must take on these people at the same time. We cannot take them on, we cannot have pocket resistance and take them on state by state. For example, these people that were rescued came from Katsina State, but they were rescued in Kaduna State. So it's important for the governor of Kaduna State not to say that, oh, these people are from Katsina State, but they are rescued in my state. To provide all the necessary logistic support for the security forces to be able to do that. So that is what the governor is calling for, so that they can have collaboration.
All right, Chris. So my producer says we need to wrap up. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Mayor Kikmelu, Chris Kendi, thank you so much for your perspectives on the program today. And please have a great afternoon. Thank you very much, everyone. That's all on Journalists Hangout on Sunday. Join us tomorrow for the regular episode of the program at 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11:30. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.